Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a Seagull's original content in HD, joined by the illustrious Scarface King. Say hello there.
Hello there.
So we're bouncing off our previous podcast where we talked about basically everything. We did mention this one topic that we're going to go into a lot of detail here. We're going to be talking about Endgame. We gave our a little bit of opinion last time, but we kept it spoiler free. This, ladies and gentlemen, is going to contain all the spoilers in the world, so if you haven't seen the movie, click off. But basically, we're going to get into it, talk about it. I think Robert had a point from last time, so I'm going to let him start from there.
Yeah, so I went into the movie knowing that Iron Man and Black Widow were going to die. I got spoiled like the night before I went, so I was kind of pissed. I had mostly been staying away from like social media and stuff because I knew there was some bad people out there trying to spoil me. But I wasn't sure if it was a spoiler because on the website I saw it on, it hadn't been downvoted to Oblivion yet. So I was like, oh, maybe it's not actually a spoiler then. So it kind of, I don't know, like I kind of in my head was like, well, keep an open mind, you know. But then I saw Black Widow die and I was like, yeah, okay. So I know how this is going to end now. Didn't detract from the movie at all though. I still very much enjoyed it, so...
Yeah, because nobody cares about Black Widow, let's be honest.
Wow, no. I just meant, you know... it didn't, you know... Knowing that was going to happen didn't really...
Ruin the experience?
Ruin the experience at all, no. It was still very much enjoyable for me. For me, anyway. I think for some people, it definitely would lessen things, you know?
Yeah, no, definitely, 100%. Like, I'd have to say, for a 3-hour movie, it didn't feel 3 hours.
Not at all.
There was so much going on, it didn't really feel cluttered in loads of areas. It's kind of crazy, really. And it was generally quite engaging. There was some weird bits, but it was generally quite engaging throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
I don't really know what spoiler territory to talk about. Like, I could go on a full 18-minute rant on the time travel shit. Because like, I hate time travel. Like, obviously it was going to come because they talked about... If you watched Ant-Man, you know about those pin particles and the fucking bum dimension where Paul Rudd goes there and keeps his eternal youth. Probably has them in real life.
Yeah.
But
he's bare old, you know. Do you know how old
he's like 50, isn't he?
He's like 50. It's crazy.
He's basically our parents' age, and he literally still looks like the same in Friends.
Yeah, he does as well. Oh my god, it's so weird.
No, he probably has like some kids in the basement who probably like siphons their youth.
Well, I couldn't. Sure, why not? Sure.
Okay. But yeah, no, like I don't know what it is with time travel. I just think it's lazy, but if it's done right.
I don't think you can put time travel into a series or a movie or anything without
fucking up.
Like, it's not possible. Because why would you be going to the past if not to fuck things up anyway? I guarantee, even if you set very specific rules, they get broken. They just it's the only way to make it work. And you noticed some things that I didn't. I was so focused on something that I thought was a plot hole that turned out wasn't a plot hole. That I probably missed some of this stuff. So the thing I was focused on was Thor's hammer. When Thor was just like, I'm stealing this. And so I was like, what? You can't just steal Thor. You can't just take your hammer from this other timeline, because then you don't have your hammer in all those other movies you're in. And so that I was like, this is going to be a plot hole. But then it got to the part where Steve goes back in time and he takes the hammer with him. I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. But then a bunch of other shit happened I just didn't notice. So like, I think you caught onto it a bit more.
Yeah. So basically, I liked it that they actually had the rules for the time travel. Like I think Tony Stark set it out, and fucking Hulk, I can't remember his name, Bruce Banner. They set out the rules, and there was that whole scene on the rooftop where he's talking to that fucking chemo bald girl. And she explains, because obviously that's the thing, they go to 4 separate timelines to get 4 separate crystals. Because it's just easier than going to the same place at the same time, because they're not in the same areas, whatever, fucking complicated. So they go to 4, I think it's like 4 or 5, they teleport 4 times. 4 different timelines.
It's 4, it's Asgard, it's, no, it's 3.
3? Okay, 3.
Yeah, it's 3, because it's New York, no, it's 4. It's 3. It's Asgard, it's New York, and it's two places they did at the same time.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So she explains to him that they can't just take the stuff because if they do, it will fuck up times, whatever. So they have to come back and put it back exactly where they got it. So which is fair enough. There's rules to that. But then it gets to the end. So the big, obviously, wow, but the audience in our cinema actually went wow when they saw Captain America at the end. So he goes to put all the stuff back. But technically, he should be going back to three different timelines. But he only teleports once. So there was no way he could have gone back and put them back at the same places at the same time. And then also at the end, he's back in their timeline when he's teleported to another timeline. So how could he have got back to his original timeline? And that's where it gets like kind of back to the future type of shit, because he shouldn't have been able to be there. And it was kind of just like, oh, you took all this time to explain the rules, and you like obviously you broke it for a great dramatic effect, because seeing the CGI on his face, oh, it looked amazing, but it was just, you broke it. Unless maybe they go for like in the next film, I don't know, that they build off of that, like, oh no, all these other times are fucking up, we got like 12 Thanoses attacking us or something, but I don't really think that's gonna happen.
I don't think so. I think at this point the natural progression is this saga, the Avengers saga, or at least the first one, is done, and then it moves on to, because from what I understand, I don't read that much of the comics, so in a way it's really nice, because anything that they do play off from the comics, I'll only know bits and pieces about it, like the Hell Hydra thing where Cap says that in the elevator. That I only know about that like secondhand, like I didn't read the
from
the
a
actual
meme.
comic or stuff. So from a meme, pretty much, yeah. But some of the things that kind of, I wouldn't say it got on my nerves, but that stood out to me as like, okay. Like you said about the timelines being fucked up, when he pulls the shield out of his bag, I'm like, what? That doesn't make any. Is that supposed to be your shield that you got? You went back in time and you lived as Captain America in this timeline with that shield. If so, what? Why did none of them remember you? And how does this work? Because the shield in this timeline is destroyed, and as far as they have stated, you can't like recycle the time. You can't go back in the same timeline. It's supposed to be like, the way they described it was like a Mobius. Is it a Mobius strip? I think that's what it's called. Or
yeah.
I don't know, but the idea is it loops back on itself. So the impression that I got was that it's all continuous. So they were going across to another point in the Mobius strip where events that they were experiencing hadn't happened yet, and they could go back to that point, but they couldn't go back to the point on their own, sort of. I don't know. So it's the same things that piss you off, but like my brain really wasn't processing it during the movie. It was only later when I was like, what the fuck? But I would say, despite all the shenanigans, I thought it was very well handled. Again, like, you know, Doctor Strange is like one in, I can't remember what number he said, 4 trillion or whatever.
Billion, trillion, blow. It's like Gadget Game, basically.
It all came down to that rat crawling around in that trailer garage, happening to stand on Hank Pym's machine to let Scott Lang out of the other universe.
True.
Because if that didn't happen, that's it, fam. It's done. It's over.
Oh, yeah,
Thanos
true,
won.
yeah.
So, like, that's the RNG they were waiting on. Like, a rat just happened to stand on this machine. Which I just thought, like, fair enough, I guess. But at the same time, it's like, you what?
What, fam?
He's the real hero. Where's his movie?
Well, yeah, no. Well, he got 2, didn't he? Oh, wait, no, we're right.
The rat, not Ant-Man.
No, he was in Ninja Turtles. He's
Oh,
Sensei.
yeah. Splinter, innit?
Oh, well, there's also another thing as well. It was the Soul Stone.
Okay, yeah.
So basically, you have to make a sacrifice, but the suicide count. That was something that I kind of maybe should check out in the comics, because Thanos has to kill his daughter, But the thing is, what about if Hawkeye just jumped off straight away? And obviously she, like, Black Widow just sitting there, like, does she get the stone? Or what?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't really understand that. Like, I was hoping when he started, like, wrestling with her, he was just going to throw her over for the greater good. That would have been kind of cool.
Oh!
But that lovey-dovey moment, I was just like, I don't like these characters. They haven't got a movie yet, so why should I care?
See, the thing is, like, Hawkeye coming back as Ronin is amazing, because it's like, he's basically like, oh, my family's dead, I'm gonna go become a weeb and like go kill a bunch of Japanese gangsters. It was so sick. But the thing is, I thought when it came to the Soul Stone part, and I'm not an expert on how they do it in the comics and stuff, but I figured like, yeah, Hawkeye suffered enough, fam. Like you talk about sacrifices, like his whole family died like the first like second of this movie. Like, is that not a sacrifice enough for you, Mr. Red Skull Man?
He got bad RNG with that.
That's just peak, you know. And the worst thing is like the way like Scott Lang's just like, my family's all actually like alive, so like he could have just been like, bye guys, but because he was like so baffled about everything that happened, he decided to help out. Good man for helping out the cause. If I was in this situation, I would be kind of like, no, I'm kind of set, you know, my family's still alright, so fuck this. But
kind of like Iron Man.
Yeah, although I guess the Wasp died, which he probably wasn't too happy about. But you just get, you know, get a new Wasp, it's fine. You know, but his daughter survived, so that's good. Who else's family? Like Iron Man did all right. Spider-Man died. He wasn't too happy about that. But like, you know, when some
Spider-Man.
There'll be a new Spider-Man. Like, you know,
Andrew
there's
Garfield
plenty.
again.
Andrew Garfield again. Yeah. I think after the snap, there's a few people that got the bad RNG. You know, like, and I think Hawkeye is definitely one of them. You know, I'm trying to think of other characters that got it really bad, you know, because some of the characters didn't have a lot of stakes to begin with, like Black Widow, like we don't even know like anything about her family really. With Captain America, like he already got fucked once, like he's just getting fucked again, not as bad this time because he knew less people.
That's the secret, lads. Don't know anyone, you'll be fine.
That's it. Everyone dies. It's just like, oh well. Less of a queue at the gas station. That's about it.
Half a queue.
Half a queue. Of course, like in 5 years, like everyone's trying to like recover and that. There's that whole scene of like, yeah, we went on a date and we were both kind of depressed and started crying. It's like, it's understandable. I can understand that. But in 5 years, like, I'm not saying everyone would have moved on, but like 5 years is a long time. That is a lot. That is a lot of living your life, you know. So I feel like people would have moved on a little bit. Like the Avengers, sure, no, but like generic people, like you would, like it would suck, it would be horrible, but eventually you'd move on with your life.
That's one way to look at it. You're bad depressing, Robert.
But 5 years is a fucking long time, man.
Yeah, no.
The only thing I'd say is like some of the people that got zooped away, like what if H.R. Oda died? We're never going to finish One Piece.
No! Hopefully.
No, but seriously, like, it ruined the manga economy. Like who's going to die from there? Like,
no, that's why. That's why Hawkeye was in Japan. He was trying to find the secrets.
Oh, that's it. He's going to bring it back to America so we can finish One Piece.
That's America's manga. Other than that,
it was
a good movie.
It was good. It was good. What did you think of the fight scene at the end?
Reminded me of Aquaman, to be honest.
I haven't seen Aquaman, so
it was quite good.
Okay.
Like the fight scene at the end, like they made Thanos so OP, and he was like 6 years like younger. I was like, wait, what? Nani? I like these little swords. Like, it reminded me of like Gears of War.
It's cheating.
Like Captain Marvel, the actress, she's a block of wood. Like she reminds me of Kristen Stewart in Twilight.
Okay.
And that's just her facial expression the whole time. I literally just don't think her face changed once in that whole movie. I just don't think she's good. Captain Marvel's alright though, but I just don't think she's a good actor. And it's just like, why don't you just ring her up like, yo, Thanos is here, don't wait till last minute. Just can't kill Thanos, innit?
Yeah, I think I do have look, I don't have a problem with Brie Larson as Captain Marvel because I think part of Captain Marvel's thing is she's kind of not a bitch, but she's really blunt. Like she's just doing her job. That's all this is. She's just doing her
you
job.
can see like she's to the point where she's basically immortal, so loses emotion type of thing.
But I know she like disappeared off in space or whatever. But like, and it's a fair enough. It's a fair enough point. Like she's helping out these other planets or whatever. But you know, the whole thing is you kill Thanos, you win. Save the cheerleader, save the world. Like if you have one goal. Why are you fucking off over there somewhere? Like, be here. You're bare OP. We need you here. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And like, Scarlet Witch is also super fucking OP. And like, I mean, she basically could have fucking like ate Thanos' ass by herself. But then like we have this whole army trying to beat Thanos, and we've got to like deal with all these like super weak superheroes trying to beat him. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? No.
You're the Wasp.
Oh, what's wrong with the Wasp?
The thing is though, she technically when she grabbed the gauntlet, she could have just flown straight up into the atmosphere and nobody could have got her.
Yeah, but Thanos is like, he can fly. Wait, that's another thing. Like, Hulk like almost died having the gauntlet on. Like, what about Captain Marvel? Like, isn't she super powerful? Can't she wear it?
You know what? Probably, yeah. No,
like,
yeah.
at any point, could she not have just put it on? And just been like, fuck Thanos. Boop.
Oh, that's probably what went through Tony Stark's head, innit?
I mean, you know, Tony Stark getting the... I mean, I guess that's probably a big part of it, Tony Stark getting the final moment, because it's kind of... It's not like his saga, but it kind of is, you know? Like, he's involved in so many of those movies, and... I think he's... I think it's fair that he got his final moment with the gauntlet, but I do at the same time think, you know, him saying that there's 1 in 60 billion chances or whatever, like, I don't think that's exactly right, if I'm honest.
No gambling, man.
Like, there's a lot of opportunities where people could have killed Thanos and they didn't. Like, I know he's bare dense and bare powerful, but Thor could have fucking slapped his head off in the first movie and he didn't. So,
yeah, he should be a little bitch and he went and play Fortnite.
Yeah, they kind of fucked around with Thor's character a lot. I think that's kind of good though, because they wanted... I don't know this for sure, but it seemed like they were setting up for him being a part of the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie, which gives that movie a much bigger draw, because it's got Thor and the Guardians of the Galaxy. And apparently that leads on to another super powerful superhero story. I'm not familiar with the character, but I've heard that. So good for them. You know, that would probably be really funny. That would probably be really good.
Let's hope so.
Let's hope so. And okay, this was another thing, because it had me and my family, all of us, completely confused. Did you notice the kid at the funeral at the end?
Well, not crying.
No, there's like the one guy at the funeral standing at the back, the like teenager.
No.
So when it pans over and it shows like Pepper Potts and
Peppa Pig.
it does not show Peppa Pig. It shows like Pepper, and it shows Tony and Aunt May and a few of the Avengers, and it pans back and you see like some of the SHIELD agents, and you see Captain Marvel, I think, was there as well, and Nick Fury. There's one point where there's this kid at the back, and I legitimately, like, I think my mum turned to me, who is that? I said, I don't know. I was like, I was like, it might be someone from like the SHIELD movies, or the TV show rather, so I'll ask my dad who had watched it. He didn't know. So I asked like everybody. None of them knew. I ended up looking it up online because I was like, it was really annoying me. It turns out it's the kid. It's the same actor. It's supposed to be the same kid from Iron Man 3, where he ends up in that town in the middle of nowhere, and he like flies in someone's farmhouse, and there's a little kid there, and it's him all grown up.
Oh, okay, fair enough. And he's gonna be the next Iron Man.
No, that's the exact same thing my dad said. I'm like, that's not the point. It was just it's just like a little Easter egg. Like, it's this kid.
I love how like nobody's crying at his funeral though, not even his kid.
It was kind of weird, a little bit. Although it did, like, you know, there was a few times when I came close to crying, and a few times when I actually did like little tear up a little bit. The bit where it's like, I can't remember his name, but Jon Favreau's character is with the daughter, and they're like talking about Tony, and they're like, "You like burgers and all this?" I'm just like, "Oh no, I'm dying."
Well, you like, oh, you also like cheeseburgers.
I also like cheeseburgers. No, but there were a few moments in the film where I was like, "Oh no, the tears! I am being overwhelmed."
Bumhead.
I know. It was great though. I did really enjoy it.
It was good, you know. I'm not gonna complain. It was well worth the money paid for a 3-hour movie.
It definitely was. It definitely was. And I think, you know, there were a few moments that were a little bit like cheesy, and there were a few moments that were a little bit like factually didn't make any sense, even in their own universe where they established all the rules.
And they got the rules as we go along.
But you know, I mean, I didn't pay much attention to that shit until afterwards. So like, I just enjoyed the ride, I think.
Fair enough. Other than that, is there anything else to talk about?
I don't know.
Conclusion, maybe.
Well, I think, you know, they're setting up for the next lot of movies. I've heard that I forget his name. The guy that's not. Is it the Hawk? Is that him?
Oh no, man, he sucks. He's so boring. Don't give him a movie.
Well, like from what I understand, that was like a thing that happened in the comics. Was the Hawk became Captain America? I don't know if it's the Hawk, but like the Falcon. That's it. He becomes Captain America in one of the comics. So makes sense. I don't know that that'll necessarily happen in the MCU. I don't know how they're gonna handle it, but you know, I think it'd be okay. I think it'd be kind of cool.
I think Hawkeye will probably get a movie now.
Hawkeye, yeah, could potentially, but like his arc is done. Like he's finished killing all those Japanese businessmen, and he's moved on to you know, just living his life out on the farm with his family. He's easily like, consider when you look at, as far as I know, he has no superpowers, right?
Yeah, he's just like quickscope, man.
He's a normal human that's like really good at archery, and out of all the humans in this saga that have no superpowers, he probably goes the biggest distance out of all of them, other than maybe Black Widow, but she dies, so peak for her. But like, you think about it, like Doctor Strange has powers. Like Iron Man is technically human, but Iron Man also dies.
He has the power.
He also has this giant suit of armor that like protects him from all this damage and all this shit. What does Hawkeye have? What does he have? He has bow and arrow, and he has his weed blades. And that's it. So like, as far as not having much going for him, I think he does pretty well. You know. So I'd be interested. I'd be interested to see his movie, if I'm honest. I don't know what they do with it, but I'd be interested to see it.
Who else does like? Obviously, I think, as you said, the Guardian of the Galaxy with 4 will be made.
That'll be good. That'll be good.
Will they make another Hulk movie though?
See, that's the thing. Have they even done a Hulk movie? I suppose Hulk Ragnarok, right? Is that a thing?
Yeah, Hulk was in there. Like,
or was it for Ragnarok? I don't remember.
For Ragnarok. Yeah, Hulk was in the movie.
Okay, yeah. So he hasn't really had his own movie as Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk, right?
Yeah, he hasn't had one. No.
Probably because they tried to do it twice with Eric Bana and with Edward Norton. And I don't think either of them did a bad job, although when you look back at that first Hulk movie, it does not look as good as I remember it looking.
Yeah,
but, I thought Edward Norton was pretty solid, but I guess I don't know what happened with that. That never happened in the MCU.
I think they had like some disputes or something with the studio or something like that.
I mean, okay, fair enough.
Then he didn't, because he was originally going to appear in that Avengers movie.
And he was like, "Nah, fam, that's not me."
Yeah, I can't remember the whole controversy, so they replaced him with the Buffalo Man, Mark Ruffalo.
I'm fine with that, you know. I don't think the Hulk needs to have someone like Edward Norton playing the role. I think Mark Ruffalo can do the job. I think it almost works better. because Edward Norton is like kind of like a properly serious actor, and
yeah, true.
you just don't get that impression with Mark Ruffalo, and I think that works for someone like Bruce Banner. So
You know, fair enough, fair enough.
but I don't know if I could watch a whole Hulk movie.
You'd have to have other characters there.
Yeah, right. Like at this point, and also at this point, he's kind of finished his arc as the Hulk as well. Like he's got him fully under control and everything.
Or maybe he takes over and he becomes the Hulk too.
I mean, there are other stories to do with the Hulk. I think there's like the Red Hulk and She-Hulk, and I don't know any other Hulk characters, but
Hulkmania with Hulk Hogan.
Grey Hulk, I think, is one as well. And I think there's one called Abomination or something like that. I don't know. There's a lot of Hulk characters. There's a lot of stories you can do. I just don't know how many of them you can do with Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah, no, fair enough. 100% fair enough. Probably not a lot.
Probably. But I think at this point, basically, Iron Man is done. They won't do another one of those for years. They might bring certain characters back as Iron Man. I don't know if Don Cheadle is going to be the new Iron Man or something. I don't know. Maybe. I think Captain America for now is done. I don't know if the Falcon is going to be the new Captain America, but maybe that could work. And as for the other superheroes, like Doctor Strange, you could keep doing shit with for sure. Spider-Man, you can keep doing shit with. I mean, I'll buy tickets to those movies, sure. I don't know who else though.
Guardians. That's
Thor and the Guardians will obviously be pretty good, I think.
Maybe another Ant-Man movie, Ant-Man and the Bumblebee.
There is another Ant-Man movie coming. I think I've said this before. I was kind of lukewarm on the Ant-Man movies.
I've only watched the first one. It wasn't too bad.
I watched the first and I watched the second, and I think I would say the first was okay. They were obviously kind of setting the scene. I think the second was maybe a minor improvement, but I wouldn't say it was fantastic as far as the story goes. But I think they had a lot more. They had it down a lot more what they were doing with the characters and the story, and they knew where they wanted to go. And in the first film, the Wasp is kind of a bitch, but in the second movie, she's kind of alright. So
you just gotta look at it as a lost episode of Friends, and it gets a lot better.
Yeah, little bit, yeah, little bit. Phoebe comes back, joins the Avengers.
Yeah, I'm the Wasp, Smitty Wasp.
I'm trying to think who. There were so many heroes. Black Panther. I kind of liked when the portals appeared, and just like this whole. At first, I thought all the superheroes were just going to show up one by one, and in Black Panther, like that was going to be the only people that bought an army, and it was just going to be like, wait, we were the only ones that bought an army. What the fuck are you guys doing? We got to fight against all these aliens. We got one army. But then the other people showed up like Valkyrie and the guys from the Doctor Strange Magical Institute thing.
Harry Potter.
From Harry Potter, yeah. I thought that was pretty gas when they all came out like that. And I'd watch another Black Panther movie. I thought the first one was actually not... I didn't enjoy it that much. I thought it was okay. But I feel like there's so much you could do with that character. So I would be interested to see more.
Still haven't seen it.
I think it's on Netflix. I'm not 100% sure. But the only one I haven't seen is Captain Marvel. But that's just literally because it wasn't on Netflix. And I've gone to the cinema once in like 5 years. So...
it's a long time, Robert.
Yeah, you know. I got my fill of Marvel movies. I could have easily watched Captain Marvel if it had been on Netflix, but it wasn't, so fuck it. I can't really share a full opinion on that. I'm sure there's going to be more Captain Marvel stuff, and that's fine. I honestly don't think, like... I know her attitude in the movie is kind of that of like, fuck you, this shit needs to get done, and then like for the rest of the movie she's not getting shit done. So I did kind of have a problem with that initially, but I do quite like her character. So I don't know. I'd like to see more, but not with just her. Like with other superheroes in a movie together.
We'll call it the Avengers
No, no. I mean, like, let's say if like the next Guardians of the Galaxy, if she was in that.
You can't really have her because it's just One Punch Man.
She's too OP, I know. But like, there's storylines that can work where there's like super OP characters that she can play off of. Like if they do Fantastic Four and fucking like Galactus shows up or something.
Oh yeah, I forgot those are in the same universe.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And Deadpool as well, and the X-Men.
Supposedly, the X-Men is like no longer. It's in the same situation as Spider-Man, where there could potentially be, I don't know, like some X-Men characters showing up in the MCU at some point.
That could be interesting.
But I don't know how you do it at this point. Like so much of the story has happened, and then you're gonna be like, oh, and then Wolverine shows up. Yeah. Woo. Like,
they'd have to like reboot it, type of thing.
yeah, I mean, I guess they will. I don't know.
Money.
Well, I mean, I liked the X-Men movies when I was a kid, but when we got to like the second generation of X-Men movies, I was just kind of like, okay. To be fair, they weren't bad, but they weren't bad coming off the back of X-Men 3, which was awful. So, I don't know that even says anything about how good the movies were.
Well, there's a new one coming out soon. I don't know if you're going to watch that one.
I mean, I might do. I mean, it's the same set. It's the same set of movies, I think, with James McAvoy as...
Bald Man.
Yes, as Bald Man. As Professor Xavier. I think... Is it Michael Fassbender as Magneto?
Michael Fassbender.
I really like him as Magneto. I think it's pretty good. But there's something about, like... the OG X-Men movies, the casting just felt so fucking on point. And then you look at the new stuff, you're like, okay. I mean, I see it, I don't know.
I probably should have played like Rogue or something.
Yeah.
I'd make a good Xavier. No way, Bismarck might.
Yeah, you pick a good,
Cyclops.
Cyclops is a little bitch. I love it.
Yeah, I could be that.
There's a lot of characters that like, obviously there's so many iterations in the magazines and in the TV shows and stuff. It's like, this character is like really, really cool in this one telling, and then in the next telling it's like, he's kind of an asshole. And it's the same with Jean Grey. Like, Jean Grey is like sometimes just rubbish, and other times she's amazing, but then there's like, she transforms into like Dark Phoenix or whatever, and there's a whole other thing. Man, these comic book movies are complicated, you know. I can't keep up
manga.
with this shit. It's kind of like the manga. Could you imagine if there was like something equivalent of this, like a manga cinematic universe, or like not cinematic, but you know, like where they all came together. It's like crossover crisis, but like not awful, like in Jump Force, like actually good.
God, that'd be fucking amazing.
Like you could do it. It could be done. It was just like, so far, all the attempts have been awful.
Robert, be the change you want to see.
Oh, I'm just gonna learn Japanese, fly over to Japan, tell them how to make the manga.
Be the change, Robert.
Yeah.
Alright, fair enough. Well, I think that's it.
I mean, I don't really know what else to say. I think it's a good movie. If you watch this without having seen the movie, I don't know why you did that, but I would say it's worth the ticket price. Maybe don't get any like popcorn or anything.
Get the hot dog.
Get the hot dog. Yeah.
Get the Tango Ice Blast.
You know, they actually did have the Tango Ice Blast, and I was like, I'm on an iron about getting it, but I'm kind of happy I didn't now. I think that was the right decision.
Robert, you only go cinema once every 5 years and you didn't get the Tango Ice Blast.
I know, but it's like, it's not the right thing. When the movie's 3 hours long, that is not what you want. Like, at the start, it's going to be like really cold and slushy and nice, and by the end, you're just going to have that purple goop at the bottom of your cup that's like, and the ice doesn't have quite enough juice left in it, so you can't suck it up as much, and you know, it's just, it's not worth it. And plus your hands, like if you're holding something cold for ages, like you can put it in the cup holder, but the things they sell the Tango Ice Blast in is just, it's not the right size for the cup holder. So like you kind of have to hold it, and it's just, you know, you're gonna get cold fingers as well, and it's gonna leak. It's definitely gonna leak, and you're gonna get the sticky syrup on your fingers, and that's gonna be there the whole film. There's nothing you can do about it.
Jesus Christ, you fall way too into that. Holy fuck.
You know, that's the queue was kind of long, so I had time to think about it as I was walking over there. The smart people stop off in the pound shop and buy like a bottle of soda and a packet of crisps or something, and just sneak them in their jacket. But that wasn't me. Not on that day.
You're not a smart man.
I'm really not. I'm really not. I don't know what else to say about this. I don't know what this video is supposed to be.
It is an in-depth review of Endgame.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Two weebs talk about Endgame. There you go.
If you want my official seal of approval opinion, I will say that I think, considering it was the only movie I watched in maybe the last probably 3 years, to be fair, it was 100% worth leaving the house to go to the cinema for.
Really?
And I would very rarely say that. I have watched so many movies not at the cinema because I can't be asked to go out. I can't be asked to spend the money. But I think that was worth it. So that's my seal of approval. Even though I had been spoiled before I went to see it, I still enjoyed it. So
there you go, lads.
There you go. We should end this before I, start talking about Tango Ice Blast again.
that was the actual real review there, Robert.
That was the real review. Guys, if you're going to go see this, go watch it at Gfinity. Get yourself a Tango Ice Blast. At Gfinity, the seats are much plushier and the cup holders are bigger. They can fit the Tango Ice Blast cup in the cup holder. So you don't have to worry about the syrup or the cold. And you can just enjoy it. Although I do personally recommend a soda because the movie is 3 hours long.
There you go. And on that bombshell, we'll see you next time.
Bye!
You fucking foreskin.